All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The Las Vegas Raiders put themselves in a bind with their once franchise quarterback, and it's very hard to feel sorry for them. After the Raiders made quarterback Derek Carr inactive for their final two games this past season, you knew that his time in the silver and black was coming to an end. And there is a provision in Carr's contract stating that if he is still on the Raiders roster on February 5th, 15th, excuse me, 3 days after the Super Bowl, his salary of nearly $40 million for next season would become fully guaranteed. Now, the Raiders, of course, could look to trade Carr, which would require the Pro Bowl quarterback to extend the trigger date to allow Las Vegas to broker a deal. Now, Carr yesterday at the Pro Bowl skills competition didn't seem that happy or gung ho, if you will, to look to, help the Raiders out and extend that trigger date. And as he has a full no trade clause, the Raiders finally gave him and his agent permission to talk to other teams. But at the end of the day, you're looking at it, the leverage is all with Derek Carr and his camp because the clock is ticking for Raiders owner Mark Davis to try to get a deal done. And at the rate that we're going, he is going to have no choice but to release Carr. And I don't see Carr wanting to play in Las Vegas anymore after how he was treated by that franchise in the late stages of this past season. Now, if I'm Derek Carr and his agent, I'd be more than willing to wait out the Raiders because, again, if this is not done by February 16th, he is free to sign with any team around the NFL. And of course, the blame for this falls at the feet of Raiders team owner Mark Davis, as well as the Raiders front office, with having this clause in Carr's contract. You're looking to shop him. Everybody around the NFL that is interested in a quarterback knows that. So why would anybody be willing to take on Carr's contract? And then on top of that, you'd have to give the Raiders either players and or draft compensation, more than likely draft compensation first. So why do that when you would then have an opportunity after February 15th to sit down and talk turkey with Carr and his agent and just work out a deal without having to give up any draft compensation? There might be some naysayers that are going to say, well, Derek Carr can't get it done, but I bring in the Josh McDaniels factor because in 1 year under Josh McDaniels, Derek Carr's completion percentage this past season was 60.8. In 4 years with John Gruden, 2018, Derek Carr had a completion percentage of 68.9, 2019, 70.4, 2020, 67.3, and 2021, 68.4. So obviously, this guy still knows how to play quarterback. He had the talent around him last year, but it never came together. And I think a lot of that, blame wise, definitely has to go to Josh McDaniels and Mark Davis, like I said before, because Mark Davis tinkered with the recipe. This team was rolling last year with interim head coach Rich Bisaccia, but Mark Davis felt like, you know what, I got to come in there and I got to make a splash at the head coaching position after, the John Gruden fiasco. And nonetheless, once again, Josh McDaniels hit a dud. But again, getting back to Derek Carr, the ball is in his court and he has all of the leverage. And I don't see him giving a quote unquote hometown discount on his way out the door to a Raiders team that turned their back on him and embarrassed him coming down the stretch of this regular season. So at the end of the day, I think Mark Davis and the Raiders are simply going to have to suck this up. Nobody, and I would highly be surprised if anybody around the NFL would want to trade for Derek Carr at this point. They're just going to sit back, allow him to be released, and take it from there. And this is a classic example of reading the fine print in a contract. The Raiders didn't do it. They triggered this by going out there and benching Carr down the final stretch of the season. And this is, Derek Carr's opportunity to put a little egg on the face of Mark Davis and company on his way out of town. The Raiders rolled the dice in a big city known for gambling in Las Vegas. And unfortunately for their sake, they are definitely going to roll snake eyes. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There is also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.